The Chicago Bears offensive line has done a great job improving after a horrible first 3 weeks of the season. You have to give credit where credit is due because this unit is progressing in the right direction and it shows on the field and on paper. The Bears unit as a whole is averaging over a 67 PFF grade over the last 3 weeks from a pass blocking and run blocking perspective. Caleb Williams isn't getting sacked nearly as much, not as many quarterback pressures, and he's averaging over 3 seconds of pocket time, which is league average versus league worst, which it was the first couple of weeks. Guys have made much needed strides in order to help this offense. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to this episode of Just Another Year Chicago Bears. My name is Nick Rohde, and as always, thank you for tuning in. Now, before I go more into this breakdown of the Bears offensive line, if you're happy with the offensive line's improvement and how the Bears are playing as a whole, hit the like button on this video to support the channel in order to have more Bears fans find out how well our line is doing. So let's quickly go through the offensive line as a whole over the last 6 weeks, starting with the first 3 weeks, allowing over 13 sacks, over 30 quarterback pressures, and a bunch of quarterback hits. I don't even want to read the number. The Bears offense through the first 3 weeks was ranked 29th in the NFL because there was no rushing attack. There was an imbalance of passing. Our rookie quarterback was running for his life, and it all starts in the trenches. Well, the offensive units leaders of DJ Moore, Cole Kmet, and Mercedes Lewis after the Colts game called offensive coordinator Shane Waldron into his office and said, we need to have a conversation. They do this every week, but this one was definitely a little bit more stern, and it happened earlier than usual on Mondays, I guess, according to reports. Why are they going to Shane Waldron? Because one, he is the leader of the offensive coaching staff. He tells Chris Morgan what to do. He helps make the calls. He's not just calling plays, but he's adjusting lineups for the better of this team. He's talking about his game plan for this upcoming week that the Bears have. And overall, he has the ability to talk about what he needs to see in improvements on. That is why he's the leader. And that's why we saw some pretty key changes. We saw Nate Davis moved out of the starting lineup and on the bench, and now he's inactive as a whole. He's making $12 million to be inactive. A mistake by Ryan Poles, but there was just nothing we can do. This guy lost his love for the game. But we moved Matt Pryor into right guard, and we've seen improvement on the right side, which has helped Darnell Wright out. We've seen guys flow in like Bill Murray and Kiran Amegadji that have helped guys when they're tired or hurt and continue to put this offensive line moving forward. Since these changes, the Bears' offensive line has been better, let's say. They've given up half the sacks that they allowed in the first 3 games, only allowing 7, going against arguably one of the best defensive lines in the Jacksonville Jaguars. They literally cut the pressures in half, and the quarterback hits have been in a quarter. Again, don't really want to talk about those numbers because they were so bad the first 3 weeks. But they're doing a great job progressing and protecting Caleb Williams. What has this done for the Bears? They now have a running game. That's why DeAndre Swift has had over 100 yards of total offense in the last 3 games. On top of that, too, Caleb Williams' last 2 games, having over 300 yards passing. This one, almost 300 yards of total offense. And the Bears have back-to-back games for the first time in 68 years with 5 offensive touchdowns. Key changes were made, massive improvements happened, and that's what happened with this offensive line. Now, before I break everything down by position, I have a legitimate question for you guys. How can we improve Just Another Year Chicago Bears for you guys? I want to make this channel fun for you guys, but also educational, and that you guys choose us as your number one source for Bears news. Any constructive criticism is greatly appreciated in the comments. If you guys could put it in the comment section below, I'm going to take it. And no matter how harsh it is, I appreciate your guys' feedback, and I definitely want to hear what you guys have to say. Let's go into the tackles, though. Overall season in the last 3 weeks, specifically Braxton Jones, I have to apologize to, first of all. This guy has been actually one of the better left tackles in the league. He's currently ranked 14th, has a 71.4 overall PFF grade with his pass blocking of 72.6 and run block of 70.5. He has had 5 penalties, though, which is why I criticize him so much. But everything else besides his pressures, not bad. He's only allowed 1 sack, only 1 quarterback hit, and 17 pressures. That's what happens when you go against the best edge on the opposing team. And most of those pressures have come against tougher defensive lines. I'm not using that as an excuse, but Braxton Jones has been playing pretty darn well so far for the Chicago Bears. Being the 14th ranked left tackle is pretty darn impressive according to PFF. And I think Jones can be a top left tackle in this league with how he's improving. If he can continue to do it against tough teams, though, which we have a bunch after the bye week, Braxton Jones, I will do a full apology video to Braxton Jones, but he has been playing pretty darn well. Going over to Darnell Wright, he's been improving a lot as of late. Rough start to the season. He has had 4 penalties, 4 sacks, 3 of them coming in the first 3 games, and 13 pressures allowed, but 0 quarterback hits. His PFF grades are 70.4 overall, 67.7 on the pass block, run block, fantastic at 74.5. He struggled a lot because Nate Davis was on the right side for a while, and that's when he was giving up most of the sacks and pressures. Now that Nate Davis is gone and he has Matt Pryor, he doesn't have to focus so much on taking on two guys at once. Darnell Wright has looked a lot better over the last couple of weeks, and Kiran Amegadji, too, has filled in for him when needed at the end of games because of that back injury that Darnell Wright has. And it's good to know that we have the depth there, but Darnell Wright is doing a much better job over the last 3 weeks, so have to tip my cap over to him as well. Going into our guards, very quickly going to run through them because there's a ton of them we've had, but Teven Jenkins is by far our best guard with a 72.6 overall PFF grade. His pass block, 68.1, and his run block, 73.3, allowing only 1 penalty, 2 sacks, 6 pressures, and 1 quarterback hit. When Teven is healthy, he is awesome to have on the Chicago Bears team. I truly enjoy looking at his breakdown because he hasn't allowed a sack in 4 weeks. He only has allowed 2 pressures over the last 4 weeks, and he's come a long way and gotten into a solid group for this team. And I'm hoping the bye allows him to heal up for quite a bit because we need him on the field as long as possible. Then going through Matt Pryor very quickly, a 62.1 overall grade with a 71.9 pass block and a 62 run block. He has 3 penalties on him in 4 starts for the Chicago Bears, 2 sacks, 7 pressures, and 0 quarterback hits. Not the best stats, but better than what Nate Davis was doing out there. And Matt Pryor has helped Darnell Wright improve a lot too. And as he's been a solid interior guard, allowing no sacks and only 2 pressures against the Jacksonville Jaguars. And that was the toughest defensive line he has faced as a starter and has done a great job. Quickly going through Bill Murray, he did a great job against the Carolina Panthers. Some really good grades. No sacks, no pressures, no anything at all that could mess with Caleb Williams, showing that he's a solid depth piece for this team. And why I want to say this too is Nate Davis not being a guard anymore has helped this team out tremendously. He was toxic. He lost his love for the game. And I'm not going to say too much on it. I'm hoping him the best and wishing him good luck in his next adventure, but he just wasn't the guy anymore for the Chicago Bears team. And before we get into Coleman Shelton, please subscribe to the channel if you haven't already to help us hit 19,000 subscribers. And when we do that, we're going to give away 2 Tory Taylor jerseys to 2 lucky subscribers. We keep everything free and up to date on all Chicago Bears news and notifications. So hit that subscribe button with the bell to stay up to date on all Chicago Bears news. Now, quickly, before I get more into today's show, I would like to thank today's sponsor, OddsJam, your ultimate ally in a world of data-driven wagering. With over 260 sportbooks in its system, OddsJam is the go-to platform for savvy bettors. Now, here's how it works. Secure your bets with confidence, make informed decisions, use OddsJams, and go to the link in the description now to use JAYCHI Bears as your code to get 35% off your first order, and they're also offering a free 7-day trial. Now, quickly going into Coleman Shelton, the center position, which was a huge concern for the Chicago Bears for a while. He has improved tremendously, scoring an 84 against the Jacksonville Jaguars and in making his improvement overall on his PFF grade go skyrocketing through a 63.6 overall grade with a 62.5 pass block and a 65.9 run block. His stats, though, not that bad. Only 1 penalty, only 1 sack, and 9 quarterback pressures. 8 of those pressures coming in the first 3 weeks. He's only allowed 1 pressure since. He has a lot of sacks since, and his penalty came last week against the Carolina Panthers. But continued to be a very solid piece. He's improved tremendously on that offensive line. I know center's been a huge concern for this team for a while, but good to see Coleman Shelton improving. But bear down, baby. It's always good to be a Bears fan, especially when they're 4-2. And again, I appreciate all your guys' support for Just Another Year Chicago Bears. We just hit 5 million views, and it's a very exciting time for the channel. So please, if you haven't already, hit the like button on this video. Subscribe to the channel if you're new, and thank you for tuning in to Just Another Year Chicago Bears. But with that, thank you as always for tuning in, and bear down, baby.